No.
How are we all doing?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's another week, another new Partwork.
Yeah. Just before we start, well, both me and Kev, we had some quite not nice news today, didn't we, Kev?
Yes. Yeah.
That Daniel Goldman from Dan Oligo Models has sadly passed away. And from both me and Kev, we're just sending our thoughts and prayers to his family and his friends and everybody.
Yeah.
Very sad news because, like we knew, he was one of the people involved in Wayne's workshop a few years ago. So, yeah, not been easy.
Yeah.
No.
But
yeah, what can we say? It's sad news and
tragic, yeah.
But yeah, we'll put that aside and then we'll get on with the show. So ET, oh my word!
Yes, ET has gone on. Yes, has landed. It's sort of on pre-order at the moment. I'm not too sure when it's off pre-order, but it's on pre-order at the minute. So before the end of the year, I believe it's got to come out. So
right, okay.
And it had its big unveiling at New York Comic Con on Saturday. And there was a lot of interest there. They're definitely hitting the US market because obviously that is a big player.
Yeah.
So they've chose to unveil it there. It looks. I mean, it's ET. It looks okay. It's got some new tech in it as well. The contactless stuff, so you can sort of wave your hand near it, and it does sort of gestures, which is really cool. It looks better than the tested, and I don't know. Lots of people have asked if I'm doing it. I don't know yet. I'm doing what I'm doing at the minute. If it comes along, it comes along. But yeah.
I'm maxed out. I am really maxed out what I can afford now. It's really hard, and it's just unless I send a packet of M&Ms to Fanham or something, I don't know. But no, I'm maxed out. I can't do anymore because, like I said, I just can't afford anymore. It's that simple. The bank account won't stretch to it. So even though it's so frustrating because there are a few out that I think I'd love to do, but I think we're very much spoiled for choice at the moment. And I think, a few years ago, you could kind of keep up with what was coming out and do them. Now it's just the market is just flooded with them. It is absolutely flooded with stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's no let up neither with what's coming out. So there's at least another 4 or 5 to come out before the end of this year. So we've only got 2 months left of this year, which is scary in itself. But we've got 4 builds still to be released. I believe you got the 007 car from Agora. That still hasn't been released. I think the first pack is this week or next week. I suppose to be getting posted out. So that isn't officially released yet. And then you've got another build from Agora, which we believe is the helicopter, but we're not entirely sure. We know something's coming out. Then you've got there's a few coming out from Fan Home. You've also got the Lancaster and the Batman figure as well, but I don't know whether that's going to be January or this year. But
a lot can happen. I mean, I know Fan Home have what they've announced that they are closing the dates now, aren't they, for the build along subscriptions? So
so they've done twofold things really. So a lot of people have been contacting them to do to start more builds from any point. So they've decided that's what they're going to do. They're going to open the window. I think it's for 2 or 3 weeks. So it's very small. Get over there and have a look. But I think mainly it's for the Millennium Falcon. So if you if you're halfway through building the Millennium Falcon, there's going to be an option. I think it's next week. It's only going to be for 2 or 3 weeks for you to start the Millennium Falcon from any issue.
Yeah.
And then you can finish it and stuff like. I think they're doing it with R2D2 as well. But when that closes, they're also closing new subscribers for. Returning subscribers for the Enterprise, Ecto 1 are the only two that I've heard mention. So there's no mention of the DeLorean.
There is.
Is that right? Okay.
There is. The end date, I believe, for the DeLorean is the 31st of December.
Right. Okay. I know. I think it's. Do you know what? I haven't got it on me. It's on their customer service page.
There's two that end at the 31st of October, and then there's two that
that's
end.
The Enterprise and Ecto 1. Enterprise and Ecto 1 finished then. And then I think the other ones are finishing. They're sort of closing it. It's just because I think logistically it's a bit of a nightmare to start halfway through a collection and start from the beginning. For them, it's been a good thing. I mean, they've opened it up to everyone. And to be fair, they have given long enough for people to come along and sign up. I thought it was always going to be there. It was strange because the DeLorean, when they opened it, and they said it was only going to be open for a short amount of time, they kept it, and it's still there now, even though it was supposed to stop ages ago. So it may still be open. I don't know, but they've given a date, so that sort of tells me that that's what they're going to stick to. But they are closing the returns. But like I said, they've opened more builds to start from any position, but only up until I think the end of October.
Right.
So
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I did see on the on Facebook that they had set, the dates for the Eagle Moss sign-up builds to carry on to end. So, which is understandable. They've got to carry on now. I mean, they've given it till the end of the year, so majority of the end of the year for to finish. So I think that's plenty enough time, really, for people to finish off the builds.
I think it was going to come anyway, so I think it's going to happen eventually. It's there. So there's that as well. But like I said, there's those builds that I mentioned. So there's at least five or six before the end of the year finishes still to come out. So there's a lot of builds. And that doesn't include builds that I know of that are coming out next year. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of builds coming out next year. So we, like you said at the start, I think we're spoiled for choice. We're going to be even more spoiled for choice next year. So, yeah.
Well, on 2024, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah. There's going to be a lot. I think there's going to be a lot of people really happy with the builds that are going to come out.
Yeah.
But then there's going to be people like in your case and in my case as well, I suppose, where there's going to be hard choices to be made.
Yeah,
and we do.
That's the hardest part. Is frustrating. I think we were talking about the other night, Kev, of things finishing, and you can't really move on to another build until something's finished. And I'm like, well, majority of mine about 3/4 of the way through before they even finish. So. I've got
Agora sending me the last couple of issues that I need to finish off the Alien, so that will be finished before the end of the year. I've also got the Dodge Charger that finishes in 4 weeks time, because I'm up to issue 105. So there's only 110, so I've got 4 weeks left of that, a month left, and then that's finished. I think the Disney Dollhouse finishes in March, April time.
Yeah.
That's 2 builds finished, 3 builds actually finished. But then I've got loads. I've already got loads. Like you've got the Knight Rider there. That's going to be sort of close to finishing. I'm already up to issue 50 on that, so that's coming along really quickly. I've got RoboCop. We've got the Optimus Prime, obviously. There's still quite a bit of doing Enterprise build as well. So,
okay, I'll put my prediction in for the whirly thing on Agora. What we thought was a propeller.
Right, go on.
I still think it's the Harshett Lancaster.
You still think it's the Lancaster?
Yeah, I do. I think it's a Lancaster because the thing under the cover was the Alien.
Yeah.
So I reckon the Lancaster, because then they'll be able to get it further abroad. And that's what it is. The propeller is one of the Lancaster propellers. But
it could be, you know what? Yeah, it could very well be, because we know they have a partnership with Hachette. So it very much could be. So but I think there's still another build cup. They said that they've got another build being released. I think most people forgot about the propeller thing, but you're probably right. It could be the Lancaster. They could say they could take it on at the same time, like they've done with the Alien. Sort of, you get the English guys get it from Hachette, and if you get it from the US, you get it from Agora, sort of thing, because that's what they've done with the Alien.
Yeah, and they've done the same with the Titanic.
Yeah.
I've got a sneaky suspicion it is the Lancaster. That's that they're going to release at the same time. But
yeah, it could very well be. I know that they've got another 007 car that they want to bring out, the Lotus, the submarine Lotus. So that could be out before the end of the year. I thought it was going to be released before the end of the year. It still might. So there's just so much coming out at the moment. It's crazy. It's crazy
to think that Fan Home at the beginning of the year was this very one small company just doing a couple of builds and collections.
Yeah.
We're coming out of it at the end of the year, and it's like, wow. You know, it's become one of the biggest company up there with the biggest companies. Yeah, well, they're
definitely releasing more builds than anybody else.
Yeah.
So they're definitely taking their market share of things. And I think Eagle Moss, them taking on the Eagle Moss builds has helped, because what we're getting from them, things like things like Optimus Prime and RoboCop and stuff like that, they were a D'Agostini. They were part of Fan Home anyway, where we've had builds from Eagle Moss as well on top of that. So if you take those 4 builds out, actually they've been pretty consistent with what they've been normally bring out. It's a lot because they've had that on top. So it seems like a lot. I was surprised with the ET, to be fair, because I was expecting that to be next year, not this year. And but like I said, I think going forward, I think we're going to see more of this simultaneous releases. So like with Optimus Prime, we're going to see it released the same time in France as well as over here. Probably down to licensing, but I think we're going to see a lot more of that, because the ET was only ever obviously tested in France, and the website for them is not even opened or anything yet. So it looks like the US and the UK are getting it first.
Wow.
So
the other thing kind of the ET has one kind of Star Wars link, and that's because George Lucas put them in the room, didn't they? The chamber room.
Yeah, in the Star Wars.
Yeah. There's a little bit of a nod, but
there's if anyone's wondering, it was in the Clone. I think it's in the Clone Wars, in the Senate section where they're talking in the rings.
I thought it was in Phantom Menace.
It might have been. I also know that in it might have been the first issue. It might have been episode 1. I think it was when they were at the Senate, and and there's all the different species. There is a pod with ET, loads of ET characters on it. Yeah. It might be. I know the Senate sort of appears in the first 3 episodes, in the first 3, like the prequel films. I thought it was the Clone Wars, but you might be right. It might be the Phantom Menace. But I do remember it. Yeah, they're at the Senate, and they're in one of the pod things.
Yeah.
So they are Star Wars. But then you've got R2D2 is also in Star Trek. So.
Oh, gosh, don't go there.
There's in the new Star Trek film 2009, J.J. Abrams was directing it, and obviously he directed the new Star Wars films.
Yeah.
And in the wreckage, they come out of warp into a load of wreckage, and part of the wreckage floating past the view screen, and there's a little R2D2 there.
Yeah.
Floating past. So yeah, it's hard to do Star Trek as well. So yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Right, I'm going to go through some of this chat. So I'm going to have to do just what's directed at us, guys. So I've got D. Harris as the first one, saying evening, Mark and Kev. So evening, D. We've got Burgess says evening, Burgess.
Hi, Burgess.
We've got Todd saying hello.
Hi, Todd.
Hi, Todd. We've got John at Spider Spruce saying hello, it's me, JP, and welcome to Mark and Kev Partworks Live. How are you both? We're good, thank you.
Well, we're good, very good, thank you.
Yeah, lots of exciting news at the moment.
Yeah.
We've got Scott Duggan says hi, Mark and Kev. Hope you both had a good weekend. Hi, Scott.
Yeah, good weekend. Yeah.
We've got Go For It Painting says hello. Hi, Go For It.
I go for it.
And then Go For It says hit the like button. Yes, please.
Yep.
Then we've got Horlicks says good evening. Hi, Horlicks.
Hi, Horlicks.
And then we've got Peter Webster says hi, Kevin Mark. Hi, Peter.
Hi, Peter.
Right, hang on a minute. Right, Spider Spruce said I would do the ET, but the pennies, yeah. I think if you had a choice of Optimus Prime and ET, I'd still go for Optimus Prime. Yeah,
it's a nice build.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, it's not disappointing. I mean, I did issue 13, and that was, the amount of stuff you had to do and the amount of metal, it was amazing. Really, really amazing. It's, turned out to be better than what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it's a nice build.
Peter Webster said, I pre-ordered the ET cost Marie wants to build it. Oh.
You won't be disappointed.
So, and then Burgess says, even after 2 subs end next month, I'm going to be on my limit. Yeah, I think that's I
think a lot of people are. We're coming into Christmas period as well at the moment, so I think it's a little bit tight at the moment for people. So I
think it's really the wrong time of year to be bringing something out. I mean, I can understand bringing things out in January because it's the start of the year, and that's always what it used to be. You always used to get the adverts of the collections that were coming out.
Yeah,
we just don't seem to get, we don't seem to get that much anymore. Either just before Christmas, and you think, who is going to sign up for something at that time of year unless you're...
Yeah, well, they used to have a thing, wasn't it? I think it was like September to April. They used to bring out builds between those times.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, with Fan Home, we're getting builds, and with Agora as well, we're getting builds all year, all through the year. So,
yeah. I mean, the trouble is, though, back then you would see a lot of them in the newsagents. Which
it was all new. I mean, I reluctantly started subscribing because I was always picking up from the newsagents. It was just more convenient. It meant that I had all the builds on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or whatever. Yeah. Times change.
Unfortunately, that just doesn't happen anymore. I don't even think we're going to see Hachette in the newsagents in the near future. Yeah,
I think the newsagents is sort of coming to an end, and I think Hachette are starting to, with the U-96 and the Alien build, they're starting to drift away from it. Yeah,
it's a shame.
Yeah,
because I live in an area where it's virtually impossible, unless I was to travel, to get something from the newsagents. And then we're looking at moving, hopefully, very soon. And we'll be moving into an area where I could get something from the newsagents. But by the time that happens, the newsagents will probably be obsolete with Hachette. So, what happened with Fan Home? Because I know they did the Dodge Charger in the newsagents.
Yeah. So, originally, Fan Home were reluctant with releasing in the newsagents. And then... they were going to release the Dodge Charger and the Iron Man in the newsagent, and then COVID hit,
right,
and put a spanner in the works, and then after COVID, they decided we're not doing that anymore.
Right.
There was plans in place to do news agents. That's why they've done the Dodge Charger. That and the Iron Man were going to be sort of like their tests to do.
Yeah.
But then I think they released it in the end of 2019.
Mm.
And then obviously it was out for a couple of months, and then obviously COVID hit, and then the rest is history.
Well, I think COVID hit the news agents hard, and a lot of them went out of business, unfortunately.
Yeah, well, they couldn't open, and it was hard for everything to come and get. And I think most people started to sort of isolate and shield, so it meant that they couldn't go. And then subscriptions started picking up online.
Mm.
And then obviously it just overshadowed everything, and they just thought, we don't know if this is ever going to happen again. Let's just move away from the news agents. So, yeah,
it's a shame, a real big shame.
Yeah.
We've got World of Wayne in. Says, I'm here listening. I have you on audio as I'm about to start driving. Safe driving, Wayne.
Okay, yeah. We'll be on your ride home.
Yeah, definitely.
Have it on there.
Peter also says 26th of October DB5 starts getting shipped. I contacted them.
Right. I knew it was soon, but I knew it hadn't been released yet. And I know a lot of people were asking. I weren't too sure exactly the right numbers and that. So
right. We've got Neil Radcliffe asks, hi guys, does anyone know how to order Partworks from Japan?
Yeah, Japan Link.
There you go.
No, not Japan Link. Sorry, it's called Hobby Link. Hobby Link. If you put in Japan Hobby Link, it will come up straight away with the address. But they're that's where you can get all your Partworks from. It's really interesting as well saying about the Japan Partworks, because we've not really got a lot from them. We've had the Nissan GTR that was from Japan, and the Nissan Skyline that's due to come out was also originally in Japan, and it looks like we're going to start getting more builds from them guys as well, because there was a lot of builds that they've done in Japan that they've not done here. Tracy Island, Snoopy House, they've done Godzilla builds as well. So I think we may get some of those builds over here, which we've never had before.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Even more to the market.
I'm giving them ideas here. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Stop giving them ideas.
Burgess says, gosh, don't mention a helicopter. My wallet is already scarred and scared.
Well, I think you might be right, Mark. I think it might be the Lancaster. We don't know. They've done a teaser, and then we've not heard anything since. So, yeah.
It was a strange one, because everybody thought helicopter, and then I thought to myself, is it the Lancaster that Harshett are doing? I
don't know. You see the blades moving. It's a camera shot facing down, and you can see the rotation. So I don't know. But then again, you can manipulate the camera and have it sideways, and it looked like it's down. Yeah. You could flip it. It's very interesting. We'll have to see. It will be coming out, so we will see some information soon.
Yeah, definitely. Scott Duggan says, how typical, I threw my part-built R2-D2 away as I thought I'd never finish it. Oh, dear.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, dear. Oh, dear.
It's strange, because I don't think they ever did this before, and I think what's happened is Fanhome have gone, actually, we can start from any position. It's difficult, but we can do it. And I think they've had so many people come up because of the Millennium Falcon, and a lot of people were left hanging because of what happened with Model Space.
Yeah.
I think that they've gone, maybe we can start, offering this for people to start wherever they like. So,
yeah. So I've just seen a message. Oh, there we go. I'm just trying to find the personal messenger. We've just had this from Todd that's come up. Said, would you guys like me to join the stream today? Yeah, I can send you the link, Todd, if you just give me a second. So Let's do that and do that and do that. Do that, so there we go. I sent it.
Lovely.
Right, so take your things. So oh yeah, Peter says they're way behind on comments. Todd, sorry guys, I'm trying to catch up.
Yeah, it happens every week.
Birdie says worse than Wayne, to be honest, Peter. LOL. We're trying, guys.
We're trying.
Yeah. Doug Making says evening all, evening John.
Hi John.
D Harris says was only a twin blade in the silhouette. Oh right, I didn't know. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, a lot of people have said to me Airwolf or a Chinook, but we don't know.
No, I thought Chinook was a 4. Airwolf was 4 blades.
I think it was 2, weren't it? When it 2 on top of each other. I can't remember. I can't remember. I know I was never into Airwolf. It was Knight Rider. Like Airwolf was like a poor man's Knight Rider.
Okay.
I shouldn't really say that, but it was.
Here's the man himself. Here's Todd. Evening, Todd.
Hey, evening, Todd.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Cool. It's nice to have you here.
Early for this.
I had to wake up early. Did you Are you in the part of the US where the eclipse was?
It was just north of us.
Ah, you missed it.
We caught the edge of it, but I slept through that. It happened in the morning.
Have a lie in.
It's interesting when Agora put out the helicopter blades.
Yeah.
I actually measured the angles between the blades.
Right. Okay.
As they went by, it's a 5 blade. And so that means it's not a Bell 222. It's not a 206. It's more like a Sea King or something like that. Yeah,
they've just had a big anniversary with the Sea King as well. I know Airfix have as well. Yeah. So you might be right. It was lots of people speculating on what it could be. I said it couldn't be a Huey because that was another thing as well. Because they've done the Willys Jeep, a Huey would go quite well with that. But yeah.
And it rules a lot of stuff out because it's not two blades. Blades are too close together, right? So you don't have the Apache, you don't have the Cobra, you don't have. I mean, there's a ton of stuff that it rules out, right? It's more like a heavy lift helicopter or something like a Sea King. So
Chinook,
maybe they're missing.
They're British aircraft as well. You've got to think Sea King's British, and so is like the Chinook and things like that. So. I would have thought, like I said, they might have gone with a Huey because of that was more sort of recognisable sort of thing for Vietnam, and they've had the Willys Jeep as well, so it sort of corresponds with that.
Yeah.
Or company has brought it out. So, but I think a Huey would have been huge anyway, like at scale.
Oh, for sure. I think any helicopter we don't have a Partworks helicopter, right? We need one.
Well, no, there's been ones before. Hachette, I think, done the Apache before, and they've done other ones. They're just very, very old now. They haven't done. It's a bit like the Locos as well, the Mallard and the Flying Scotsman. They've done them before. They just haven't re-released them.
Well, I keep telling them, I'm like, Airwolf, the big boy locomotive, the largest steam locomotive in the world, right? The big boy UP 4014. Johnny 5. I keep bugging them.
Like I said, I've heard rumours about Johnny 5, so I'll be like, watch this space. I don't know what's really happening with that, but I do know that someone had been asked for reference material. So, and that would get, if it went with Agora, they don't do magazines, so it would get past a lot of the controversy.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd only have to do the instructions, so...
Yeah, because DeAgostini, Hachette, they're publishing companies, right? The magazine content is part of the job. So Agora doesn't have to do that, right? So they can skip all the background stories, and they don't have to worry about the controversy. They don't have to worry about it was a flop and then it was a cult hit. To skip all that. You're just building the model.
Yeah.
I can understand it being a difficult subject, but it's still a great model.
Well, it's one of those films that was controversial at the time. The guy who I think this guy plays Ben, the Indian guy, he's come out later on and said that he didn't like to play the Indian accent, but he was told to, and obviously he went along and played it. But when the film ended, I remember he was saying that he didn't like putting on the Indian accent. He had to sort of black up, as it were, for the film. He hated doing that. So there was, that's where a lot of controversy comes into it. There's a lot around it, but yeah. And I think the main problem with that build is who owns the license for Johnny 5.
Well, when I asked Liam about that at Wonderfest last year, right?
Oh, right, okay.
He came and he basically said, I said, it seems like nobody knows who the license is. I mean, you can chase down, because it was under TriStar, right?
Yeah, TriStar was bought by Fox.
And then it was bought by Sony.
Yeah.
So somewhere in the depths of Sony, TriStar still exists. It's just some division somewhere that still has all the TriStar stuff. But Liam said something funny. He goes, there's an easy way to do it. You just put it out and the licensor finds you. So I said, that's brilliant. Let's do that.
Hunt you down, yeah.
Yeah. He goes, you can always do that. You put it out and the licensor will find you. And they would. And if it's a thing.
Yeah, I don't know. This is another thing as well. Obviously, Short Circuit is done by TranStar, but are they the actual licensor of Johnny 5? Because obviously a lot of stuff back then was licensed by other people. So
the guy that built Johnny 5, and his name escapes me right now. It's Steve Ells or something like that. I can't remember his name. Morgan, the guy that built me my 1/3. And Titan Ross, who does a lot of them too. Right. They have talked to him, the guy that actually built and designed Johnny 5, the Saint Robots, and he's all totally on board. He loves it. He loves that those guys are carrying it on. So at least he's on board. The guy that created it. But obviously the licenses of likenesses and personalities and things like that has to go to the distributor. Yeah,
it's it's a bit. It's trying to find a sort of needle in a haystack because it's so murky, like that film. And it's really interesting as well because Short Circuit isn't it's not one of those films that you can find fairly easy on streaming services.
I just watched it on YouTube the other day.
YouTube. Short Circuit 2, it's been on the TV over here. You can find the Blu-ray, DVD and all that sort of stuff. But the first one is quite harder to get hold of. I don't really understand why. And a lot of the TV places don't, like Channel 5 over here and Sky and all that, don't view it very often. It's always Short Circuit 2.
I think that might be down to a lot of the first one was down to like military, what they were using the robots for, which was military use. And
there's a lot more controversy around the first one as well. The second one, obviously, absolutely bombed at the cinema, but it was sort of they were using him, weren't they, originally to break into a vault, and then he got punked up. Then he started turning into a punk and everything, and then he turned gold at the end. He became gold at the end, didn't he?
I can't watch the second one. I love the first one. But
it's really interesting because a lot of people said that they should do a remake. And it was a really basic film when it even come out. I mean, we're talking late 80s when it come out. So we had RoboCop around that time. We had Terminator as well around that time, all before that came out, and it sort of looked a little bit, I don't know if you know what I mean, robot wise, it was a bit ropey in terms of what they could have done. But I think that's why we all fell in love with it, because it all just like it's why Wall-E looks like Wall-E. The two big eyes, the little body, the little roller wheels, and people just gravitated towards it. So, and like you said, it's one of those films that flopped but has become a cult classic. Many films have done that. There's been many really bad films that have come cult classics.
Well, honestly, for me, and I think a lot of people of my generation, I guess, I love practical effects, right? So anything and I'm a computer guy, and I still love practical effects. So anytime somebody takes the time to build, like the Razor Crest. They actually built the model.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
They built the filming models because it would shoot so much better, and they put screens around it so it would reflect light the right way. And I give huge props to that. And Johnny Five was a practical prop, right? It was not CG.
Yeah.
It was practical. It had puppeteers laying on grounds with cables and everything. And I love that stuff. And it feels more, with CG you can do whatever you want. But is it something that could live in the real world?
Yeah.
And I love that.
It's a shame when lots of stuff in films gets trashed as well, because I remember someone asked about in Short Circuit 2, there's loads of little mini ones. And someone asked what happened to those mini ones at the end of the film. And they said they just threw them away, chucked them away, broke them up. And I was thinking they're all like little 1/6 scale ones.
Titan Toys, so Titan Ross, I think it's Titan Toys. Facebook group.
Titanic toys, yeah.
He has like a half dozen of them that he's looking to sell of the toy.
Yeah, I know he does 1/6, 1/4, and he does like a smaller version as well, doesn't he?
He does a 1/6, I think a 1/10. I have a 1/6 from Morgan, and then doing some special edition 1/3. I'm getting one of those for Winterfest. And
he also does ones with electric and not electric. I've seen the one he's done of just the head that's connected to Alexa, and that's. Yeah, I just think there's so much you can do now.
He does him and Morgan, all those guys that are doing that stuff. I think it's fantastic. They get better and better the more they work on it. So,
in terms of Partworks, I just hope it does come out. There's potential there for it, but like I said, it all comes down to licensing, and it's all over the place with the license at the moment. So, hopefully, something might turn up. If they're looking for reference material, then it sort of shows an intent on their end to do it. So,
and if you can put all those robotics inside the R2, you can put a few inside the Johnny.
Yeah. I mean, even the ET have got new tech that we've never seen before, the touchless stuff. So that's new, and it's really great when they start doing this sort of tech where it's new, because once they start doing it, it appears in more and more Partworks as it goes on. So I reckon the license plate on the 007 car that they're bringing out, that changes. It's got like a little LED light changing number plate. That's the first time I've ever seen that on a Partwork. So I've got a funny feeling we're going to see sort of more of that going forward, of that sort of effect.
Awesome. Right. I'm just going to catch up with some of this chat.
Okay.
We're a little bit behind again. Birdie says, getting my last 917 box next month, so I'm hoping to finish that build before Christmas. I know Birdie's been on that one for a while now.
Yeah.
Started with Model Space, I think it was.
The Porsche, isn't it?
Yeah.
The white one.
John's Model Making says Bell 206 Jet Ranger from James Bond. Ooh.
Yeah. They've got the James Bond license, and I know they're going hammer and tongue with that. So.
Yeah.
I have a feeling they would do Little Nelly before that. Much more recognizable, and unique.
Yeah.
Yeah. John's Model Making says the U96 is not in the news agents. No. Burgess said Bell 206 and the 222 are both on my seller kidney
list.
Even if they came out with a 222, I would modify it to be Airwolf. So
John's Model Making says Airwolf, the silent bird. That would be a good build also. Yeah, I agree.
I never watched Airwolf, so.
I did. Brady says, I'm not sure selling other people's kids illegal, so kidneys will have to do. We've got MP Model Plastic says, good evening for everyone. Evening, MP. And we've got Ian's in from Pitstain Hobbies going, hi gents, Ian here. I would give a tour if someone would bring the space battleship Yamato Partwork.
That was the one that was done in Japan as well.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of Partworks in the rest of the world that we obviously never get. But I think we might be getting some.
Well, Ian, maybe you just need to go to that Hobby Link and have it sent over here.
Yeah, you can go to Hobby Link and get whatever you want from Japan. That's. I mean, like I said, they've done that. They've done an aircraft carrier, Godzilla. They've done a few Godzilla Partworks. Tracy Island, the whole Tracy Island. So there's a few out that they've done. I'm surprised that they love English culture stuff. So things like Mr. Bean and the Thunderbirds. But I'm really surprised that they've never brought the Thunderbird Island to the UK.
Yeah, and a lot of Japanese cars. The Celica.
Lots of Nissans.
Yep.
Yeah.
Toyota.
Yeah.
Nissan.
Yeah.
We've got Ken Fairclough says, I think a Jaguar from Pacific Rim would make a good Partwork.
Jaeger from Pacific Rim. I'm not too sure on that. It's a big rail. I know they do a Gungan. I know that they've done a Partwork Gungan before. So there's potential for them to do a Gypsy from Pacific Rim. So
yeah. Okay. We've got Sprue and Glue says, hi Mark and Nexus and all you peeps in chat. Evening, Sprue. How are you? D says that a Chinook was a 4-blade front and back. Yeah. And then I think this in regards to the bladed Agora teaser
I think it was about the Johnny 5.
Yeah. Oh, me and Todd always have this conversation. Right.
We talk about it all the time.
Burgess says many Eurocopters have 5 blades.
Yes.
So yeah.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be. We'll find out soon because I believe it's due before the end of the year. An announcement at least. So
yeah.
And like I said, what I know with coming out next year. Yeah, how long has it been on the website for?
It's been there a while.
That was months ago.
Yeah, I think I did mention it to Wayne, and he was like, "Oh, I forgot about that." I think most people have.
Yeah.
I'm sure they did the teaser the same time they did the reveal for the James Bond.
It's very close.
Yeah, it's very close.
It was around about the time of last year's Partwork Awards, which was roughly all in the same
Yeah, so it's probably been about a year nearly. Yeah, it was the end of near December last time we done them.
Oh well, we have been patient for waiting for that one to be revealed.
I think most people, like I said, or maybe they've gone, they've forgotten about it. We'll sort of do something else. But yeah, like what I know with coming out next year, there's lots of people are going to be very, very happy. But there's going to be a point where we're going to have to choose what we want because there's going to be so many good stuff coming out next year as well. So
you're going to have to start putting out financing plans.
Yeah.
Partwork credit card, that you got to supply for.
Yeah.
They should. I do it. I know Agora offer a discount, don't they? When you finish a build, they offer you a discount to start another one.
Yeah, if you finish a build with them, you get the next build you sign up for, you get the first pack for free because I've got it.
They should do that, I think, with a lot of other things, or maybe even do a point system or something.
Yeah, but remember with Agora, unless it's the Titanic, you don't get any free gifts.
Right.
So Titanic is the only model they've done free gifts on because Hachette have done the free gifts. So
yeah.
And I think is the only one they've done a magazine. Do you get a magazine with yours, Todd? Yeah. Yep. So the Titanic is the only one they've got the free gifts and the magazine from. I think they do that promise the Agora Advantage Club as the thing as like a free gift if you want to do another model.
Yeah.
I think they just get the stuff straight from Hachette, so they get everything.
Yeah.
And they just I think they just repackage it, don't they? They just get it.
I think they all the individual issues and they repackage it in Agora boxes. They're basically just distributing for Hachette, which is fine. I mean, all the magazines say Hachette on them.
The only other thing is though, when they did the Route Master, they took the passengers out, so they didn't do the passengers with the Route Master.
It made it a couple of issues. Well, how many passengers? 8 passengers, so it's 8 issues less.
I'd have to ask Dave Say for that one because he knows that.
I think there's 8 passengers, but when we got the passengers when it originally came out, they were part of the issue numbers.
Yeah.
So I think like issue 20, you got to pass it. I think every sort of 15 or 20 issues, you got a character. Obviously, the bus driver was the last character we got.
Yeah, because that was split in two halves, wasn't it?
Yeah, the bottom half and the top half. You had to stick them together. Yeah.
But I know that the Agora took the passengers out and then distributed it that way. So I don't think the Bismarck though went out as it came, but I don't think no free gifts went out with that one though. So I
think free gifts cost them more, and it's more logistics. So it's understandable that they take them out. I mean, most of the free gifts are great, but they're not. They're free, aren't they? So they're not. I mean, I've got RoboCop ones here. You get posters, didn't you, and a T-shirt and a cap. The standard sort of free gift stuff. They're just a thank you. The free gifts were a thank you for signing up. So if you get from the newsagents, you didn't get anything. So it was like an incentive. But obviously now you only can sign up online. There's no need for an incentive there. But obviously over in France, they still do it in the newsagents. So I think that's why we still get the free gifts with Fan Home and Hachette as well. But normally the free gifts were there for going, oh look, come and subscribe and you get the free gifts sort of thing. So people were like, well, I'll sign up and get the free gifts. But now you can only sign up. You can't get them from the newsagents anymore. So I think that sort of pushes out the free gift thing, because there's no incentive, because there's not an incentive to sign up. You have to sign up the one way.
Well, so I think that's why be different too, right? I mean, they're the home of large scale modeling. They don't say Partworks, right?
No. Yeah, well, I got called off about that,
Yeah.
Because obviously in the US you don't have Partworks. Partworks is a sort of a foreign term.
Yeah.
So that's why they've said no, we're big scale models, because obviously they've tried, because it's been very hard to break in to the US. Obviously Eagle Moss done very well with it, and but normally Partworks is not a sort of thing you get in the US. So I think that's why they sort of went, well, they don't know what a Partwork is. So big scale models.
But they can do it differently, right? They don't have to provide magazines with a bunch of content. They don't have to do the free gifts. It's just build the model, right? It's just
not only that. I think it's obviously in Europe and the UK, it's easier to distribute to newsagents. Obviously in the US, I mean, they'd probably have to sign a deal, say with Target, and then there are some places that don't have a Target, and you would have to distribute that to the Targets as well. So it becomes a bigger problem. So I think obviously online and stuff, it's a lot. So that's why they get rid of the Partwork side. They just say we're big scale models. We're not Partworks.
Well, and think about it. How many news agents are in the UK?
Well, they're sort of corner shop sort of things. I know you have
you have 3, 4, 5, 1,000 even.
Yeah.
And then okay, I'm coming to the US and I have 1,800 or 2,000 or 3,000 or 4,000 locations. I got to put all these in.
Yeah.
I just don't see it.
It's the newsstands over in the US. That's what you have. That because a lot of people come to me and go, "What's a news agent?" And I have to say, well, it's like a newsstand in the US.
Mm-hmm. And those are gone. Like you used to be able to get magazines at a grocery store, or like a convenience store.
Yeah.
And now you got to go to Barnes and Noble, or you got to go to a big bookstore, and it's just that distribution is just be crazy. So
yeah.
Remember though, Partworks does not exist in the English dictionary.
No.
So it's not even a word. It's a word. Yeah.
It's a foreign word.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's been around for years. I mean, obviously Partworks has been around for years, but Partworks is anything that you see, because I made this mistake with Eagle Moss, because obviously I was with them for a while just before they went belly up. Obviously Partworks is it's like a big banner. So Partworks is anything that you collect that is part of a collection.
Mm-hmm.
So that includes books, DVDs, whatever. If you buy something every week or every other week and it builds into a collection, that is classed as a Partwork. It's why Eagle Moss declared Partworks like this as build-up Partworks, because we're building up a model. So when you went to them, you got a Partwork. Well, all of their stuff were Partworks, Star Trek ships, the Battlestar stuff. All that was all Partworks. It was all under a bigger banner. But then they were like, well, this build up Partwork. So you build it up to build something. So they had different terms.
The term is from like the 1700s. I mean, it is hundreds of years old, and it was from authors that wanted to write a big book or had a big book and couldn't sell it because it was too expensive. People were broke. And so they would sell a chapter at a time for a few pennies.
That's right.
And then people would eventually have the whole book. It was part of a written work. That's the part work. And it makes sense that it would come from Hachette, who's the biggest publisher in the world, that it kind of started into this. It's a part of a work. And I think they took the term kind of loosely, saying you're buying the magazines. The magazines have content in them that they publish. You know, DeAgostini and Hachette are huge publishers first. And you're buying the content in the magazines. The model was to keep you going, and so you buy all the magazines, right? The model was the carrot on the stick. In order to finish the model, you had to buy all the magazines. So you got kind of sucked into to building and buying all the magazines. And the model was extra. And it makes sense if you think about the quality of the Partworks in the very beginning. The quality wasn't great. They're getting a lot better now. We're adding a lot of features and things to them. But that's like Agora doesn't do that, right? You don't get the magazines. It's not a part work. It's just the large scale model with all the little magazines. So, so it's, they've kind of loosely taken the part work thing, and like you say, where they're pushing the model first as the build up, and the magazines are secondary. But I think that's why the whole part work kind of got tagged to this large scale build.
I mean, obviously years ago with Pucker as well. Obviously over here, Hornby Pucker, they used to do the same. If you go to the Hornby Centre over in the UK, they've got a museum, and they've got all their past, I would say Partworks, but they would never call them Partworks because they sold them as just a big model in a pack that you got. And they did loads of them. But like I said, they never classed it as a Partwork because they never sold it like a part. They sold it as a big box, like you were saying. And I think that's why you got Agora with a big scale models. But it's funny you saying that. Loads of people keep coming up to me and messaging me saying Agora should be doing, Hachette should be doing it. And I keep saying, well, Hachette, their part work side of Hachette is like 90% of their business, 10% of their business, because it's a very small part of their business because they're just a publisher. They publish, 90% of all books in bookshops are published by Hachette. So they're a huge publisher.
Do you wonder if they say, well, we have enough content to fill 30 magazines, let's do a part work about it? And instead of the other way around, instead of let's say you have a part work and do we have enough content to fill all these magazines, right? Do we have enough? We have all these content here. We should do a part work about it. You wonder which direction maybe they come from when it comes to like DeAgostini or
it all comes down to licensing. It all comes. I mean, the Hogwarts Express, I think, come down to licensing. They've printed every single Hogwarts book, so they already own a license with Warner Brothers to do Hogwarts, Harry Potter stuff. But it's just surprising that they've never run the Hogwarts Express again. But then, like I said before in other videos, it came out at the wrong time, and I think they just sort of backed off on it. I'm hoping that they return to it at some point, which they could.
I'd love to build
it. Loads of people would. It was really striking when it came out, because I remember when it was first tested, it came out with the Eddie Stobart part when they tested it, and everyone was like, well, obviously, if they're going to choose one of the two, it's going to be the Hogwarts Express. And then obviously Eddie Stobart came out. So, and we've never seen the Hogwarts again. But like I said, it came out of it hit at the wrong time. A bit like the ATAT, when that was tested over in France, it came out during COVID. They released it during lockdown. And so, of course, it was going to do bad, because all they do over there is releasing the newsagents. That's how they gauge the interest. But obviously, the Hogwarts got released around the time when it all kicked off with J.K. Rowling, and some of the people were pulling out of sort of about Harry Potter and stuff. So it probably came a little bit more difficult for them to do the magazines as well, because a lot of them were sort of distancing themselves from it. But yeah, I'm hoping that they do return to it because it's. I would build it in a heartbeat. So.
Okay. Right, I'll just catch up with some more chats. So Ian says they should do a third movie and do it like the Ghostbusters Afterlife / Tron Legacy style plot. I think that's for another Johnny Five movie.
The Tron Legacy was horrible. I've got. If you've seen it, it was horrible. That's all I'm going to say. They're actually doing another one. So
I've actually heard rumblings that they are working on it.
Yeah, they're working on another Tron, but
another Short Circuit. They were going to do another one.
Oh, were they? Oh, right, okay.
I don't know how far it is, but
I know that they were going to redo it. I know a company had come along and purchased the rights to make a movie. It was in 2016, and it's been on and off since then about writing a new Johnny Five, and I think the last report was in 2019, and they don't know what's going on. I suppose it's a bit like Beverly Hills Cop, because we're getting another Beverly Hills Cop film, and that was one that they've been teasing since I think 2011, and it's now coming out. So maybe it's like that. Maybe it's sort of one that's got a bit of an inkling that will just pop up one day. So.
Ian also says it would be cool to find a Johnny Five under a dusty tarp somewhere for the beginning of the third movie. So you could do that.
Well, at the end of the second film, he was given sort of human rights, wasn't he? That's why he was gold, and he was getting a plaque to say that he had the right to not be turned off and live human-like.
I thought that was U.S. citizenship.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a U.S. citizenship, but it also was to make sure that he was actually alive. That's why they were giving him it. So to find him turned off somewhere would be a bit.
Yeah, I don't think.
Why would he turn off? You know.
D says, Kev, Airwolf rerun on Sky if you're interested.
No, I know. I watched obviously Knight Rider, but I always found Airwolf as sort of like a knockoff of Knight Rider. Effectively, that's what it was. And it was just a little bit
self-aware.
Yeah. But it was just, for me, it was just like a helicopter version of Knight Rider, and it wasn't as good. They used a lot of stock footage in Airwolf. If you watch it, there's a lot of sort of like, like in Scooby-Doo where they're running past the same scene. There's a lot of that in Airwolf. It's almost like they've gone, right, we'll get this shot and then we'll just reuse it over and over and over again. Yeah, like they shot it all in one day and then just reused the stock footage.
They couldn't film that much in the air. Have you the actual in Knight Rider? They say the scenes in the truck weren't actually filmed in the truck because it was actually physically impossible to get that space in the truck.
Yeah. So
I watched the channel and they actually found the original truck from the TV series.
Knight Rider.
They were doing it up, and they said
the truck
no, but they could nowhere film. Yeah.
No, that was a sound stage set inside the trailer.
Loads of people have been asking for Goliath as well, but I don't know how that would really work. Yeah.
Ian says the original Yamato build was done already. That they're now on to the second ship.
It's an extension. They call it. They're extending the Yamato build into a whole other ship now.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So it's like an add-on.
Like pick up at issue 185.
It says the 124 scale Macross Robotech Valkyrie. Is it?
Yeah, I think that's sort of like a gun tooth sort of thing.
Right.
A big robot mech thing.
Burgess says Seeking is 5 blades. And then Peter says, I got my first pack with DB5 free because he finished the Ferrari 312 T4.
Yeah.
And then Ian says, honestly, some of the free gifts are fairly mediocre,
Yeah.
and don't keep all the magazines after a build, so prefer the Agora system.
Yeah,
I don't mind the Agora system, but sometimes it's hard to read the instructions when you're trying to build and, you know, trying to keep it on a tablet or you have to print it out. That's the only thing for me.
Yeah, I mean, I get rid of the magazines, as everybody knows, because everyone says, why do you keep... I always ask this, why do you keep the magazines afterwards? Because effectively the magazines only have the instructions in, and everyone's like, well, what about the material? Well, I think, you know, with the Terminator, because I got a lot of stick for just chucking the Terminator magazines away, there's no new information in these magazines. You know, most of the stuff that's come out has already been out for years. Yeah, what's going to come out is already come out. You know what I mean? There's not some hidden gem in these magazines that you won't get anywhere else. So all the material and information you get inside the magazines, you can already find out anyway. So that's why I tend to chuck them. It's built. I don't need the instructions anymore.
All I'm going to say on the magazines are, okay, they're relevant at the time. So when I was building the X-Wing, okay, and it started off, they were relevant, and then suddenly, obviously, Disney took over and they changed the entire timeline of Star Wars. So they then changed, and now they weren't even relevant. None of them made sense to anything. So the information had changed. Same with, I think, the Terminator. They'd done the Terminator magazines and sort of the timeline, but then the timeline changed because they made another movie, and then that all changed. Well,
actually, the timeline, the first two films are in the same universe. I think after that, everything is different, and it's referenced in the new Terminator film that was just out when the RAV-9 goes and kills or tries to kill, obviously, the Terminator in it. And he says, you're part of a deleted timeline. If you go and watch the movie, they're on the road and he's about to impale I think it's like the Sarah Connor character. Yeah. And she says, you're part of a deleted timeline. You're obsolete. And he tries. So it's sort of, that implies that every film that has happened since T2 is a different timeline. It's a different film altogether.
Can they do that with the Star Wars after Return of the Jedi, please? Because that is... I'm not even going there. Makes no sense. Pete Worcester says, I ordered issue 107 of the Eddie build because I don't want to wait till the next pack to fix the cab and use the remaining parts from the last issue. I don't blame you. That's been a long build, that one.
Yeah.
Burgess says the white model space Porsche was the 911, but this is the Porsche 917K. So, right, yeah, I know which one. JP says, Harshett Germany Route Master, you only get the bus driver and conductor as free gifts. That's how they've done it over there then.
Interesting how they like pick and choose.
Yeah, John's Model Making says, night all, good stream, guys. Night, John.
Night, John.
We've got Mark's Hobbies in, says, hi all, sorry I'm late. What have I missed? Ooh,
everything.
Yeah, we get insights tonight.
You know, I was going to say, you guys were talking before I joined about the discontinuation of the starting from any issue.
Yes.
With Fanhome. And I think one of the reasons, I don't know this for sure, but I think one of the reasons they did it for a limited time to help all the Eagle Moss people. But like you mentioned, the logistics of it, they want to release this in other countries, right? So they have other countries they want to get this into because there's a lot of people that are stuck there too. And it's very hard to do if there's people signing up for multiple subscriptions. They can build it faster. There's people who sign up for one part and then cancel because they do that one part. It makes it very difficult to do your inventory logistics to make sure you have enough to release in a new country. So I think a big part of it is they want to move into other countries that were doing builds. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think a lot of people, it's just logistically, it's a bit of a pain for them. Yeah. And it helps out. It's another reason why you can't start the builds from any issue when you if you stop it, if you know what I mean. It just becomes a little bit more. Not only that, I think picking it and packing it and everything else, I think it's just a bit of a nightmare. sort of just trying to get where you're starting from. That customer starting from that, that's starting from that, and it's just a bit like, right, okay. I think also as well, it's worth noting that I think if anything does happen where you get different magazines or different parts, it's understandable that happens, because you've got to think there must be like tens of thousands of people building these, and then trying to get them all at different times. It must be an absolute bit of a nightmare to do, really. So yeah, it makes sense. It was only supposed to be limited anyway, so
I think what we said in the past has been a bit true, Kev, where we said they're trying to get people that were doing it through Eagle Moss that have now come through Fan Home finished, so they can concentrate on the new sign-ups and concentrate on them and get them out of the way. So yeah, we should, because I mean my DeLorean, I'm steaming through that at the moment. I can't complain really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can understand them wanting to finish that, get that out of the way, and that's the Eagle Moss system over with, fingers crossed, and then they can just continue, with new customers.
New one. Yeah.
So Stuart C says, I would love to see the cop car from Blade Runner and a Viper from Battlestar Galactica. Wow.
Yeah, all I would say is anything's possible.
Or just the Battlestar itself.
Yeah, Battlestar itself. Yeah, I think when you look at Partworks, they tend to go for the main thing first, if you know what I mean. So lots of people say, well, why didn't they go for TOS instead, like TOS's Enterprise instead of the Enterprise D? Well, because Next Gen was the popularest Star Trek series in ever. So it would make sense that you would start with the Enterprise D over anything else. And it's the most recognizable. I know a lot of people say if you draw the Enterprise, you're mostly going to get the TOS Enterprise, but actually the most popular series was the Enterprise D. So I think that's a good starting point.
Yeah. Peter Webster says he has all the T800 and R2D2 magazines in his hobby room. And then we've got Scott.
Scott, it's a bit late.
Yeah, evening, Scott. We're just about to end.
Yeah.
And then finally, before we go, we've got Burgess says, I'm hoping I can finish my Model Space 911 this century. Yeah. Oh, don't go there. Don't go there, yeah. Model Space. Oh, no, Model Space no longer exists, does it? So,
no, it's D'Agostini Publishing.
Yeah, definitely.
Now,
we need to talk to Ian. He does Partwork upgrades. Now he has Partwork distribution. He needs partworktrading.com, where he'll buy people's old issues of whatever they don't have or spares, and create a marketplace so we can avoid eBay and all the upcharges. Just to, he collects.
There's a website already up for that.
No, Model Car Shop. I saw it or something like that. Yeah, no, because they're asking insane prices. This needs to be realistic things, right? Something where it's I buy it for $8, I sell it for $9. Or something like that. I collect 50 cents an issue on something like that, and people can buy an issue, and you limit it so you can have one issue per address or something like that. Not somebody buy you out and just go resell on eBay, because we need some kind of exchange system that's centrally located. People can sell all their spare issues. I have a ton, and I hate getting on eBay, and I hate people coming to the house, so I don't want me selling them is hard. And just centralize the whole thing and just have a repository that somebody has just issues of all sorts of things. And if you want to build the whole thing, then you buy all 100 issues, and maybe discount the more you buy or something like that. But you only get one of each, right? Or if you just need a spare issue because you broke something and you can't get it from Fan Home, it'd be nice. Maybe we can convince Ian to set that up.
Well, he's listening. I'm sure he's listening.
Okay. Partwork.com. Go register it now.
Yeah. I'm sure he's listening.
And honestly, I thought about it'd be maybe it's probably too big for Fan Home, but I mean I have dozens and dozens of issues of the DeLorean I got from Japan when I was building mine, and then all of a sudden I got all my EagleWAS ones, so I have the duplicates.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Fan Home, do you just want these back? Give them to somebody that can use them. Like I just don't want to sell them. But if we had some kind of centralized thing, something that people trusted that can ship worldwide, you can ship them in from anywhere. And then just let somebody can go in and just pick the issues they want, and you just have a huge stockpile, and because some people hang on to them because the pain, like me, that doesn't want to put them on eBay because it's a pain in the butt or you cost too much. And they say, if I got $5 an issue, I'd be happy. £5 an issue, whatever. I'd be happy if I could just offload these. And then they sell them for a reasonable amount, $8 or whatever, and off they go. And just kill the eBay market, because I hate that. I hate the scalping that they're doing. Kill the eBay market, because you can get them all here for a reasonable price, and it costs you a couple bucks to ship them or whatever, and then off they go.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure he's listening. So
we've had some agreements. D. Harris says not a bad idea, Todd.
Yes, good idea.
Says an exchange would be a great idea. And Peter Wester says Ian's going grey as you speak.
Yeah, he can retire from this. I think there's a market there where you have enough people that are always looking for broken parts or spare parts or one-off issues, or to finish my 911 from Model Space. And somebody's like, I have them all and I can't get rid of them. Buck from our HTM group tried to sell his Enterprise for months and months and months and months. Nobody wanted.
Yeah, well, I've got saying that, I've got a load of issues behind here. I've got some Alien build issues that I had spare. I've got some Terminator issues that I've had for years. All still sealed, and I don't want to throw them away because it could be used to someone, but they're just sitting in a box here. There's loads of them in a box. So yeah, it works out really well. Like if there was a system like that, I'll send them over. Yeah. I
mean, it's better than nothing. Sitting in a box isn't anything. If you got a few bucks for each one, and all the people on eBay that can't sell their parts because they're trying to ask for stupid prices, they might use it too. Just offload it. Just I think you get the ball rolling, and I think it would take off. It's going to take. You'd have to have some staff, right? You got to ship things out and take things in, and you'd have to write some algorithm to price them correctly. But yeah.
Cool. D says, Scott says, I have a ton of duplicate issues and multiple builds.
I think everybody does.
D says, Peter, Ian will be swearing, not another company, LOL. Ian says, Todd, don't mention Bucks Enterprise. I still have PTSD. And Scott says, Iron Man, Ecto 1, Titanic, Tumbler, Doll's House, duplicates of all.
Well, think about this. Think about how many times you've got a package. Now, all these Partwork builders use third-party logistics, right? So they have somebody that does picking. They do picking from boxes. They put it in the box, and off they go. And how many times have you got one wrong? Or you've been missing one. And you like, I was looking for stage 103, and I couldn't find it anywhere, and I had to order one, and then I found it. Of course you do, right? So now I have a duplicate. And how many times do you call Fan Home, or you call D'Agostino, or even back when Eagle Moss, you say, hey, this part's broken, or this part's missing, and they just send you a duplicate. Don't even want the other one back.
No, they send you the whole pack. They send you the whole pack now.
They're just throwing issues out like crazy, and I'm thinking, everybody's got to have duplicates.
Well, because I don't know if you know this, but over here in the UK, obviously the distributor for the news agents, WH Smith News, they just chuck them away in the bin. Because I said, because my news agents does, if he gets any duplicates in, at the end of the part work at the build, he just gives me them. So I end up with loads of little duplicates, loads of them. He just gives me them. And I said, why don't you send them back? And he says, they tell me to bin them. So I obviously found out through WH Smith News, which is the big sort of news agent people here. They just chuck them away, just bin outside, and they put them all in the bin.
Yeah.
So all stuff like this. So stuff like this and that just all goes straight in the bin.
Yeah, and what a waste. And somebody's looking for that.
Yeah, be in a pack like that, and they'll just chuck it straight in the bin. Loads of them. Loads and loads of them.
And you could probably get those for pennies on the dollar or free if they're going to throw them away, right? And you could have something where in this exchange, if you have 100 copies of some particular issue, then you just have some algorithm just marks them down to $2 or something. Yeah. And you have some flat rate for all of them. Everything's $10. Every issue's $10, but they always can get cheaper if you have a whole pile of them, Yeah. But you never rape somebody. You never go and you say, "Oh, this one's $50 because it's super rare." No, it's just $10. We have one, we don't. Yeah. Yeah, I've got for some bizarre reason I've got 2 issue 1s of the Dodge Charger upstairs. Just the first pack where you built the grill for the Dodge Charger. I've got 2 of them for some reason. I don't know where they come from, but they're just sitting there. Yeah, the 3PLs make enough mistakes that I have duplicates all over the place.
Yeah.
I mean, as part of my subscription, God, what was that building? It was something from Fan Home. They sent me Dodge Charger parts instead. Like instead of 23 to 26 of the Enterprise or something, I got Dodge parts, and I still have them here. And I'm like, my Dodge is done. I'm like, why did I get Dodge parts? And what am I going to do with them? This would be perfect. I'd be like, here, take them. Yeah,
the company doesn't want them back because they have to then employ other people to go through the returns. So it's easier just to go, bin them.
Yeah, and you could even do something where if somebody wanted to send them and didn't want any money, let's say that you had like my Dodge parts, you can have them. I don't even need dollars. Do something where instead of paying you $5 an issue for every one you're sending me, let's say I'm the exchange, say if every one you send me for free, I'll donate half that money to charity. You say I'll donate $2.50 to some charity, and you can pick the charity, right? And you have a list of them. Something like that. I think you could do a lot with it.
Oh yes. Get a hold of Ian. I would say
he can just watch this show and he gets all the ideas. And he can have all the credit because he's going to
go as grey as me. You'd be like, but yeah, there's definitely a place for that. Definitely.
I think there's a market for it for sure.
Yeah.
You can make money. You don't have to make a ton of money, but you can make a little money.
Yeah.
Holic says, I have 2 packs left over from the Leopard.
Yep.
Everyone does.
Peter says, I think everyone who builds Partworks will have duplicates of most builds.
Yeah, most people do.
And would you get rid of them if you got a little money? Or if you donate them?
Well, the amazing thing is, everyone's kept them. No one's chucked them away.
Yeah.
Because they thought they were going to throw them on eBay or they were going to make a few bucks here and there. But, everybody's got duplicates. Why not give it to somebody where you have somebody else that's taking care of getting them to the right people, right person?
Yeah. Definitely.
Burgess says Ian needs a van to pick up the leftovers. Peter says I used to dumpster dive at W.H. Smith to get the free gifts off the magazines back in the day.
The gifts
they just took them away.
Some people don't like the gifts. They don't want the gifts. Like all the baseball caps that have come. I don't wear hats. I could send those in.
Yeah, I mean I think I mentioned it on the Knight Rider build. I got a power pack. Who uses power packs nowadays?
Right, and they're not very good.
No, you're getting one with the RoboCop. Hang on. I think there's one with the RoboCop as well.
Probably.
Yeah. I said, I guarantee they bought a container which has just got a load of power banks in. They've gone, what do we do with these? Well, just give them away for free. Yeah. Whack a sticker on it and send it off.
Somebody may say, "Hey, that's cool," and if it's $5 or say the gifts are and the gifts, maybe you do that where those are just straight to charity. So if somebody wants one of the free gifts like the Titanic watch or something like that, then you pay $5, but that goes straight to charity. Right?
Yes.
And then send it out.
Yeah,
and you pay shipping and all that, but I don't know. I think that would be hugely popular. I would do it if I had more time. But
brilliant idea. Yeah.
Well, D says the Partwork Club today's distribution pizzas are now Partwork Exchange. See Ian advertising. Peter says, I bet Ian's ears are on fire. And Ian says, yummy Partwork pizza. So I think on that note, we'll end it there because it's we've done an hour and 20 minutes, so that's pretty good.
We've gone over.
Yeah,
it's good though. It'd be nice to have you on tonight.
Yeah,
I get up early now, so I'm here every Sunday. So
maybe you can come on whenever you like. You're always welcome.
Yeah,
thank you.
Just send me a message, and then thanks everybody for watching tonight. Thank you, Todd, for coming on. Really useful information that you're giving us tonight, and to everybody that's been watching. And like we said at the beginning, guys, obviously thoughts to Dan Goldman's family tonight and friends and everything. We do send our condolences from everybody in the community. And hope you. What else can you say, really? So it's good from me.
From me, Kev at Nexus.
And thanks for having me. Good night, everybody.
Yeah, and we'll catch everybody on the next one. Bye.
See you later, guys.